Hey, there we go. There we go. Hey, Buckeye fans. Billy Bob here, and welcome to the spring game preview with my special guest, the marvelous Mecah of the host of the Illuminutty Podcast. So, but Mecah, you do wear a tinfoil hat sometimes, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because the Illuminati is somewhat tied to way back German Bavarian and conspiracy theories, and but it also illuminate stands for enlightenment, correct?
Yep.
All right, and that's what Mika does. She enlightens us Buckeye fans on uh, well, you know what? I'm going to do a quick introduction of the show, Mika, and then I'm going to let you tell all the folks out here what you enlighten Buckeye fans on. Fair enough?
Okay.
All right. So, folks, you can catch us on, we should be live. It looks like we're live on YouTube, and we're also live on Facebook here. You can catch me during the week on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. I even do a little dance on TikTok once in a while. Make sure you always give us a thumbs up. You subscribe to the various channels. I mean, you don't have to subscribe to them all. Maybe you're not on Facebook. Maybe you're only on YouTube. Maybe you're only on TikTok. Probably not. But if you're on TikTok, you're probably on other mediums. But, and as our friend, Mika's and my friend, Eric, the Podfather, Eric Buckeye Boggs would say, if you don't like my face, you can just listen, right? So, as I said, my special guest tonight is the marvelous Mika, host of the Illuminutty Podcast. And Mika was nice enough to come on with us tonight. And we're going to talk about not the spring game in total, because it's kind of a glorified scrimmage, although I think they're going to do more heavy hitting. They're going to do the first team for a couple series, I believe, Mika, and they're going to do what they call thud, which is you got to hit the guy hard, but you don't tackle him completely. But then in the second and third teams, they're going to go full on tackling. But quite honestly, this is just more for the guys to get a little somewhat experience on the field at the shoe and get a little more fast-paced action than practice. They've been practicing for what now? 14 or 13 or 14 practices. Is that about right, Mika?
I think it's like close to that. I think it's like 14 or 15. I think
Yeah.
this in game is the 15th practice and they go live.
Okay. Yeah, because I know it was a total of 15, but I didn't know where they were in the process. And so, quite honestly, sometimes I don't even know where I am in the process. So, but anyway, Mika, I teased a little bit. Tell us where folks can find you. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got into this recruiting and following the Buckeyes. And I know you said you're in Ohio, but you're out in we're kind of. I grew up in a rural area, but you're out in a rural part of Ohio. Is that correct?
Yep. Southern Ohio, we're out here in the boonies, so internet's not always great, but I do my best. And I got started doing the podcasting thing over on Buckeye Boys, and then I started working with Eric and everyone over at the OHIO podcast and started covering recruiting and doing evaluations and stuff for them, and couldn't ask for a better team to be a part of. They're great, and Eric was gracious enough to allow me the opportunity to branch out and start my own show and do Illuminati, and it just kind of grew from there. Like, I grew up a Buckeye fan. I guess it started. I was born at OSU, and I guess you could kind of say they saved my life because when I was born 1 pound 14 ounces. I was born very premature, and that's why I'm in a wheelchair now. So, podcasting has kind of been my outlet to reach out and connect to more people and share my passion with Buckeye fandom and share crazy fan theories and stuff like that and have a good time. So I'm just grateful for any opportunity I get, and it's been a great learning experience. I've learned a lot from Eric and uh, Chris Wiles and uh, Buck Vader and all the people over on the OHIO podcast and everything. And Mello and Dev too at Buckeye Boys. They were great when I worked with them. So
Yep, I listened to them back then, and as I was telling you before we went on, I listened to a couple of your shows today. Before while I was out, I had a kind of a busy day. I went to Planet Fitness, and then I put down 10 bags of pond stone, and then rode my bike, and all in between. I did a video this morning about tax day. I keep freezing up here, watching myself freeze up. But and then I was studying because I wanted to make sure I was ready for you because I didn't want to step on myself for hopefully I can keep up. And then I actually, my wife, Mrs. Billy Bob, we discussed a new place that we are going to try out, and they have line dancing. And so she said, I've got to learn. I don't know if you're familiar with. I got to learn the grapevine, which is the first 4 steps or the most important 4 steps in line dancing. So,
that
and
sounds fun.
ironically, while I was coming home from Planet Fitness, what song came on the radio? The Boot Scootin' Boogie, which is like one of the king of line dancing songs.
Yep.
So heel toe, do-si do, and so but I figured out why for some reason on my phone I wasn't picking us up, and that's because somehow I went to most relevant posts, it switched instead of new posts. So there we go. Now we're all good. We're hitting on all cylinders. We're about 15, 20 seconds behind, but time delay, I should say, on Facebook. But so 1 pound, 14 ounces. How long were you in the, I don't know if they called it, I don't, how old are you, Mika?
32. Well,
Okay.
I'll be 32 on the 19th of this month, actually.
All right. Well, happy pre-birthday, because that's coming up this coming week.
Yep.
Like Monday, isn't it? Or Sunday?
It's Sunday.
Yeah. So yes, happy pre-birthday. But
Thank
I
you.
don't know if they called it the NICU 32 years ago. But
I have no idea.
how long were you actually in the baby care? We'll call it.
It was a long time. I was supposedly, and I don't know if this is true or not, but my mom was told that at the time I was the smallest baby to be born at OSU at the time and still survive. So
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Hey, my El Jefe. Do you know Spanish at all?
yeah,
El
she's
Jefe, my boss is on, and as well as Mrs. Billy Bob. So I'm sure we'll get some other folks in here. We'll see. I'll let you know if we get any messages here that we need to address. But we're going to talk today, folks. We're going to talk about. I asked Mika to put together, and she sent me the list of 5 of the new incoming freshmen that she's interested in seeing for the game Saturday, and 5 incoming transfers. And if we have time, we maybe touch on a couple guys that are returning that are of interest as well. So I guess, which one do you want to start with, Mika, the transfers or the incoming freshmen?
we can start with the transfers.
Okay. So tell us all who, I know you sent me the list, but tell us who the five people. I had trouble picking five, by the way.
I did too.
So, but tell us who your five are, and a little bit why you want to see them. What you're looking for when you're watching.
The first two guys, I did them as a tandem because they came in as a tandem. Krog Rusal and James Smith, the edge guy and the DT from Alabama, who actually grew up as best friends and then went to the same high school and same college and continued to do that. Well, as they came to Ohio State, and I think that's kind of cool that they got the chance to do that. And they made the top of my list because I think they're going to bring a good veteran presence, especially for Qua and the defensive inside of things because we got Kenyatta and a bunch of young guys, so we needed more veteran people in that room, in my opinion. And I think those young guys can learn a lot from guys like James and Qua because they've seen a lot at Alabama and went up against a lot of good top tier competition. So that's always good to have those voices in that room and have the young guys be able to absorb that and have guys like Will Smith be able to learn from James and have that room grow as well.
Well, I got to add one thing to that. I think these two guys will probably learn a lot, at least kind of what I have read. They'll probably learn a lot from Larry Johnson Sr. as well. And because I believe it was James Smith, wasn't it, that when they asked him about the difference between Alabama and Ohio State, and he said at Ohio State, everything is fast, everything is competitive, whether it be on the field or in the weight room. And he thought it was totally different.
Yeah, he talked about how the energy and stuff was just totally different. It's a different pace here than it was at Alabama, which I thought was kind of interesting. You don't hear that a lot. You see the SEC guys, you hear SEC, it just means more. It's different here and all that. And you hear guys come here from there and they'll say, well, it's faster here and you play good competition here too. So it's funny to see that kind of narrative get a little crack in it. Now, whether that was a shot on his part, or whether he was being truthful, I choose to believe that he was being truthful, but I don't know.
Seeing him say it, it didn't look like it was a wisecrack. It looked like he was being honest in his assessment. And actually, that's really good to hear. That when people always talk about how the SEC is, a level or a cut above the Big Ten,
Yep.
and it appears like that. Well, we know it's leveling out because of the playoff system and how that's going.
Yeah, and NIL and allowing 7-on-7 in Ohio and stuff has really changed that as well.
What's the joke that they've been paying their players for a long time now we're legally allowed to do it?
Yep. And even national commentators and stuff have brought up that the SEC has taken a step back and the Big Ten has taken a step forward. So I find that interesting.
Yep. So before you move on, I don't know, Mika, how many times you watched the show, but I usually have a big, beautiful Billy Bob Bud Light just right here, and I have it in my Ohio State Sarasota Manatee Alumni Club koozie, by the way. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, so moving on, we got is it Qua Rusa and James Smith?
I think it's Quay, but I call him
Quay?
QR.
Okay.
I call him QR code.
Okay. And who's your next one?
Earl Little Jr., the FSU transfer. I think he's going to be big because I think we're going to need a nickel, and he's ideal for that spot at a nickel corner. He's a hard hitting guy. Now he did deal with some shoulder injuries, but so
Mhm.
far from what I'm hearing, he's healthy and he got his black stripe removed. And his dad was an NFL football player as well. So always like when we can bring in guys that got NFL ties because that means more than likely they're going to be ready and they're going to be prepared and ready to take it seriously.
Yes, and what was I going to say? Now here's another guy that originally started at Bama, right, at Alabama, and then transferred to Florida
Yeah,
State. Am I correct?
he went from Alabama to Florida State, and now he's at Ohio State.
Yep, yep. All right. So Earl Little. Now he's played some safety, but if we think he's going to be in the nickel here at
Yeah,
Ohio
he's
State,
played
right?
he's played safety and corner, but I think he's ideal for the nickel spot for us.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Let's see, what was the other guy I had on my list? Hold
Are
on
we
a
going to?
sec.
You want to stay in the defensive backfield? You want to go Terry Moore?
Yep, that's the other guy I'm really high on. He reminds me a lot of um, Buckeye former Buckeye safety Malik Hooker. He's just speedy and he covers everything. And if he's got his knee right, I think he's gonna be great. Now I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Leroy Roker being involved too, so it'll be interesting to see if both those guys get used because I think they're very similar in terms of athletic profile. But Terry is very, very fast and can cover a lot of ground, and he had a very good existing relationship with Matt Guerreri when he was at Duke, and that led to his transfer to Ohio State. That played a big part in it. So I'll be interested to see how he gets used for us.
Yeah. Now Terry Moore, another guy. He and Earl Little both have been dinged up a little bit, right? And so you talked about Leroy Roker the third. I believe he's the third. But anyway, he who the heck? I'm trying to remember who he beat out a 4-star guy and
Um,
forced that guy
Malik
to transfer.
Malik Hartford is the guy he beat
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So Hartford. I mean, he didn't force him to transfer, but Hartford felt strongly enough that he got beat out, and he thought his options were gonna be better somewhere else.
And I think Bryce West got a look at that spot too, but I'm not sure.
Yep.
And they
Yes, I
and
think
they
you are correct.
and they both ended up transferring. So
All right. I think we're down to one more guy that in the transfers that
Christian
you
Allegro was the other guy that I wanted to talk about, the linebacker from Wisconsin. I really, really like this guy. And what stands out to me is when he played us, he actually played with a broken arm and still finished the game with a broken arm. And I thought that was amazing.
yeah, he broke it like early on in the game is what I think I read, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
did they?
they put an air cast on it and he still played with it and ended up with um, some really big plays and some big moments during that game with a broken arm, which is
Yeah, it's great.
impressive.
I think I read where he went in the locker room, they x-rayed it, they go, oh, it's broke. What do you want to do? Fix it up, put me back out, put me in, coach, put me back in. And he's impressive in that number one, he was starting at Wisconsin, and maybe some people would say the way Wisconsin's played the last couple of years, that's not that impressive. But what's he about 6'4", 240, 250? And I believe when he got his black stripe removed, have nicknamed him Thor.
Yep.
So the
He's
mythical god.
yeah, and he's a big, strong guy, and you can really see it if you go back and watch his film from Wisconsin. He really stood out. He was a bright spot for them in some really rough times. So I know they hated to lose him, and I hate taking guys from Luke because I'm a Luke Fickle fan when he's not play in Ohio State, but you
Well,
know, talent's talent, and he wanted to go somewhere else. So I'd
yeah.
rather him come here than have to play against him.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's not that we took him, just that he felt, because last year I believe the kid was a strong safety. In fact, their best defensive player on the team um, that transferred out last year, and I thought he went into the SEC. I'm not sure, but and I can't even remember his name. But I'm high on Allegro. Uh, Bogsy calls him Allegro, and I actually looked up because I'm like, is it Allegro? Is it Allegro? And there's both on the internet. So, but kind of. But anyway, either way, I hope he's going to get a lot of PT on Saturday because Riley Pettijohn's not playing.
Yep, that's what I heard.
So probably Alford, Tarvos or TJ Alford, and
The only good Alford.
yeah, right, yeah. We won't talk about the other one that went to that state up north, but I guess that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Yes. So I got I like all the guys that you're looking, that you were kind of looking forward to seeing. But there are a couple that I got that weren't on your list, and one of them is John Walker because we lost K-Mac and we lost Tywone Malone. So we got Edric coming back. Hopefully he's ready to rock. I know you talked about him a little bit in your last show with Bogsy. But John Walker, big dude. I'm kind of looking forward to him along with your guy, James Smith in the middle there.
Yep. I'm really encouraged by him because I've heard that he's lost a lot of weight and he dealt with some knee injuries and stuff when he was at UCF and things, and he was really athletic coming out of high school. He was a 5-star coming out of high school, and we were very, very high on recruiting him. We just missed out on him, and I love getting a second chance at guys that we missed out on and everything. I love seeing us be able to keep those ties and keep those relationships going even when they go somewhere else. Because now with NIL and the transfer portal, those type of things get more and more important. I never want to badmouth a prospect or slam the door on a prospect because you never know when things might change and they might end up playing for you. So,
yep, yeah, that's very true, and it's happened more than once. Caleb Downs was heavily recruited by the Buckeyes,
yeah.
and so was Sayin, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So never shut the door. The next guy that wasn't on your list, but a guy I'm interested in. I think if I'm correct, I'm hearing that he's having a good camp. Is Hunter Welsing, the tight end from Northwestern.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good veteran presence in the room. I think he's more of a blocking guy, but you can never have too many of those. That's going to open things up. And he can be a pass catcher as well. Like, he has both. So I'll be interested to see how we use him and how he opens things up in terms of blocking and stuff. He's a very high IQ kid and stuff. His processing ability is off the charts. Coaches rave about his ability of how he sees the game, and it's like having another coach out there on the field for them. So that's always encouraging to hear.
Yep. So because you had Allegro, I don't count him as part of mine. So I still have 3 more to go.
Okay.
So I want to get your input on. The next one is Connor Hawkins.
I'm so excited that we finally got a field goal kicker that can hit field goals.
Now let's hope he can kick the ball.
Yes, and he can. He's done it in some big moments for Baylor, so hopefully that translates over to Ohio State. Me and Eric have talked about this. We want to make make special teams something special again. Like
Special. We want to make special teams special again.
I want the swagger like that we had with Mike Nugent and stuff. How that was just automatic, and there was excitement and stuff. There's no excitement for special teams anymore, and that to me, we need to bring that back. We would start landing more recruits if we would bring that back, I think.
Yeah, and the good news is he's a redshirt sophomore, so he's got eligibility left. John Walker, I think, got another year or so eligibility. He's only a redshirt junior. Welsing and Allegro, they're older. The next guy is a redshirt senior, and he interests me because I guess anytime a guy comes from the SEC, and we talked about that with Quay, with Rusaw, and with Smith, and is this kid. I mean, I just want to see what his ability is. Jacoby Jackson, who played a couple years at Florida, about 5'10", 214 pounds. I didn't see what his speed is, but usually if he comes out of Florida, he's out of Pensacola. Usually guys are pretty quick out of Florida.
Yeah, he's 4'5", I think, is what he wants. So, and he's a bigger back too, so that's impressive. And I really like having him because we got all the guys kind of nicked up and stuff, and I think he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be a big red zone guy for us if Bo would then get nicked up, or just a change of pace guy, because you got Bo and Turbo and Isaiah that all bring something different to the table, and they're all speedy and they're all fast, but each one of them, you got Turbo, who's more of your scat back, and you got Isaiah and Bo that are more combo backs, and then you got Jacoby that can do a little bit of everything, and like I said, he's a much bigger, powerful back, so I think he's gonna be an interesting wrinkle to throw in there as well. So anytime you have different types of backs, it's just something defenses have to adjust to and keep an eye on.
Yeah, and he may be a good and even a better guy than. I mean, C.J. Donaldson was serviceable. He was better than average. But here's a big back that I think is quicker than C.J. was.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think he's a better pass catcher than C.J. was too. So that there's an element to his game there that I think is going to play a big part as well.
Yep, and the last guy that I had on my transfer list that I'm interested in seeing, and I think we'll see these guys, is Kyle Parker from LSU, the wide receiver, and he's a redshirt junior too. Now, do you know, Mecah, was Cortez Hankton, was he his receivers coach at LSU?
Yeah, and I think he recruited him there too. So they had an existing relationship, and that's always good to see that pay off. I think he's gonna bring a lot of athleticism and just. I think he's gonna be our inside guy. Him and Devin McEwen, the transfer from UTSA, I think are gonna share time in that spot, and he's great at making difficult catches in tight spaces, and just he had moments where he was just Johnny on the spot for LSU at times when he was healthy. So that's going to be something I think that's going to translate well over to OSU and everything. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, before we leave Parker, I brought up Cortez Hankton. Before Hankton was at LSU, I believe he was at Georgia, and he recruited some pretty good receivers at Georgia and developed some pretty good guys that went to the NFL at Georgia as well.
And he emphasizes rotation, which I'm really excited about because I really want to see these young guys get their chance, and I think they will. And I've been saying it for years. That was one of the big issues I I love Brian Hartline, don't get me wrong, but we needed to have the younger guys more ready than what we had them at times, and I think that's what really hurt us at times in big games and big moments.
So you're go
We
ahead.
didn't we didn't have the backup guys ready, so I think things are gonna be different under Hankton. Not that I'm not grateful for everything that Brian Hartline did. I love Hartline, but there were some times where I would get frustrated.
Well, I think some people a lot of times they put that on Coach Day instead of on Hart. That Day's the one less less likely to rotate him, but each guy rotates his own guys. I mean, Coach
Yeah.
Locke, he's rotating the backs and
Hartline even put it on himself. He's like, why would I take guys like JJ and all them off the field when they can go? Like, and I
yeah,
understand the philosophy of it and everything, but I think that hurt us a lot because when we had starters hurt in big moments, we had some guys that just weren't ready for the big lights at times. So
yeah, and one of those, a couple of those guys left. One of them's not playing yet; he's still hurt. But the other guy running his mouth a little bit, and I hear. I got a friend who's a big Notre Dame fan, and he said, as of now, he's what they thought he was going to be. And I said, well, let's see how he is once the season starts, because that guy was what we were all high on in the spring game last year. Guy wore the number 5, and then when he
yep,
got in games, he quite honestly he didn't perform. He dropped the ball. He did what
yeah,
he had
and
every
was
opportunity with Carnell and Jeremiah out for Carnell for a couple games and Jeremiah for a game.
yep. You just never know. Like I think people get too caught up in these rankings and they see the stars and they think, well, a 5 star is automatically going to be ready and everything, and a 3 star is not going to play here, whatever. And sometimes you get the exact opposite.
All right. So speaking of stars and 5 stars, let's go to the incoming freshman. And the first guy that I have on the list that you picked is a 5 star.
Yep.
6'5", 205 from Mater D High School. And that would be one Chris Henry Jr.
I'm a little biased when it comes to this one, and I'll be the first to say it because I was a huge fan of his dad growing up. I grew up a Bengals fan, and his dad played for my Bengals. And when we got him, I couldn't have been more excited. I was so thrilled because
Yep.
he reminds me so much of his dad, and it's just so cool to see him be a Buckeye because you know his dad played for West Virginia, so I didn't get a root for him in college, so it's cool to get to have that with Junior, and I love his game, and he just got his black stripe removed, so
Yep.
that's that's a big deal too,
Now one.
and
Yep. Go ahead.
I just
Sure
I
thing.
love how fast and how big he is. He's probably closer to 6'6". He's
Yeah.
huge. And just what he can do, his catch radius, everything is just amazing.
So here's my concerns. I'm really excited. I hope he does well. A couple of my concerns, and I know Chris Henry Sr. was a Bengal, and he was loved as a Bengal fan, but he made some mistakes. One of which cost him his life, falling out of the back of a pickup truck. And then Henry Jr. had a mentor that would probably make most people shiver in their boots.
Yeah.
Seniors teammates at West Virginia, who actually just
Pac-Man
got
Jones.
he just took they negotiated a plea down to 5 years probation versus 18 months in jail. And but what gives me some hope is that Jeremiah the other day. I was watching him, and he said that Chris is even quieter and a little more introverted than JJ was when he came in. So,
Which is always interesting to me how you get these kids that are, like everyone talks about them from the time they pick up a football, and a lot of times those guys end up being the quieter, more humble guys. I always find that intriguing.
yep, little humble pie. So your next guy that I show on your list, and they're not in any specific order, is Timmons. Jay Timmons from
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
he's an elite corner. He's not the tallest corner out there, but he's nasty, and I think he can do just about a little bit of everything. And he comes from NFL ties as well. And like I said, I love that. I think coaches rave about his maturity coming out of high school. Like he had a checklist, and he was ready. He knew what he was looking for. He prioritizes development. I think he's going to be a great fit at Ohio State.
So 5'11". I think I could be incorrect, but I think the two Denzels, Burke and Ward, were pretty similar in size to Timmons.
Yep.
I don't think they were in the 6'1" category. I think they were closer to the 5'11" to 6 foot, just off the top of my head. So the next guy is a wide receiver out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and so you pronounce that Jerquaden?
Jaquaden Guilford.
Jerquaden, okay. Jerquaden Guilford.
He's a guy that just got better and better as the season went on, and it showed in his offer list. Like his speed got better, his catch rate just got better. Like everything about his game improved from the time he started his senior year to the time it ended, and he really showed out at the All-American game. I watched that game, and he was outperforming guys that were ranked higher than him. He outperformed Chris Henry Jr. and Caden Dixon Wyatt too, the kid that was committed to us that ended up flipping to USC.
Yep. Well, cool. So another wide receiver, the room stays deep, right? So
Yep.
if he performs, you know, there's theory and there's reality. So in theory, he's going to be great. So we'll find out what the reality of that is. So the next guy you got is an edge guy, Kari Wilder, out of another California dude out of Gardenia, California, 6'4", 245.
Uh, uh, Juniper Sela High School, I believe, is
Yep.
where he's from.
Spot on.
Yep. And I gotta give shout out to my buddy Buck Vader. He's the one that told me about this guy. He's like, you have to watch his tape. He's amazing. And Vader's never steered me wrong before. He was absolutely right. This kid was amazing, and he just got better and better as the season went on and put up great numbers. He started out as a low 3-star kid and finished borderline 5-star and an actual 5-star in a lot of the rankings, and it really shows. I think he's a guy that could see the field early if he plays his cards right, because I think he brings a great mix of strength and speed to the table. And like I said, we're young in the DN room, and I think he could make his presence known. He's very explosive coming off that edge, and he's a very big, powerful guy for being so young. So I'll be interested to see what he can do.
The last guy on your list is a surprise to many, but apparently not a big surprise to Juck. And I just listened yesterday to Juck speaking with this young man's father, who is his wide receiver coach at South Lake Carroll High School in South Lake, Texas. and that would be one white or nicknamed by, I believe, Jermaine Matthews Jr., nicknamed White Chocolate.
I've heard White Lightning.
I've heard that too, but I saw a video where he beat, I believe it was Matthews that he beat in the end zone, and they were jawing, and he called him White Chocolate.
Yep. And one thing about him is he's fast. He can break ankles in and out of his breaks. He's a great route runner, and he comes from a great program that goes against elite competition at South Lake Carroll.
And I don't know if it was his junior year or his senior year, but he had like 110 receptions and 1,800 yards receiving. And his brother's a pretty damn good player too. Are you familiar with his brother? I think it's Brady Boyd.
Yep. And I think his brother's a lot taller, and he's a good ball player too.
He actually at the combine or their pro day, he's at Utah State now. The one thing that concerns me, and I after listening to his dad, didn't concern me as much with Brock, but Brady is on his third school. He was at I had it right. Oh, he was at, I believe it was Texas Tech before he. Okay, I froze up. He was at Texas Tech before he went to Utah State, where he finished his career. I don't know the first place it was, but his brother has a 10-foot broad jump and a 40-inch vertical leap.
Yeah, I saw that. So you can tell athleticism runs in the family, and I love the fact that he's a coach's son, because I think when you can bring in kids that, have been coached hard and been coached by their dads and come from programs like South Lake Carroll, you're getting guys that are used to going up against high-level competition. South Lake Carroll goes up against some elite Texas football competition.
Did you hear the story that Brock was at a camp? I forgot how old Brock was, but there was a 7th grader at that camp that the coach, Graham Harrell, he was a quarterback, I believe, at Texas Tech, and he was a coach at that time. And he said, hold on a minute, to Brock Boyd's dad, Chris Boyd. He said, hold on a minute. He went over and talked to this kid, and he came back and he said, I just made that kid an offer. He said, but you made him an offer. He's a 7th grader. And that kid was Quinn Ewers.
Yep.
So, but his dad, listening to his dad is very interesting how from early on, he taught him technique and the understanding of running a route and all the vernacular, all the lingo of running and the nuance, not just the speed of it, but the nuance of it.
And you can really see it in his footwork. And like I said, he's very fast in and out of his breaks. And technique-wise, he almost looks like. Have you ever seen basketball players how they do like crossover dribbles and stuff? And they'll leave defenders like not sure what to. Not
break
sure what
their ankles, as they say.
That's what Brock Boyd does in and out of his breaks. It's impressive to watch.
Yeah, I see it in college. I try not to see it in the NBA. It's just that game I've either passed it by or it's passed me by for the most part, although I'm still a Cavaliers fan, so might have to watch some playoff.
Defensive basketball is a thing of the past now.
Yeah, what is it? What is the defensive basketball? Is that a thing anymore in the NBA?
No, I don't think it is. I think that I missed late 90s, early 2000s basketball. That was better.
I think we're in the world of one-on-one and three-point shots, Mecah.
Yep.
All right, so there's one guy that you and I haven't talked about, and before I get to a couple guys I'm interested in over and above who you were. One guy we haven't talked about, people are probably wondering why we haven't talked about him, because he's been widely discussed, highly highly anticipated. And this guy, the reason we haven't talked about him is because he's not going to play Saturday, and that would
Yeah.
be one Legend Bay.
I was so disappointed when I heard he wasn't gonna play. Hopefully the hamstring thing isn't an ongoing thing. He was shooting practice with the camera, so he's joking around and having fun with his teammates. So his spirits are high and everything. So hopefully that's a good sign. That kid is special. I think he could do he could play just about any position offensively that he wanted, and he could probably be an excellent cornerback if he wanted to be. Like, he's just that sort of athletic. He's just the kind of prospect that you just say, here's the ball, make something happen, and he can do it.
Yes, we try, Liz. My friend of mine from school, Liz Smart, the lizard, she says, wow, you guys really know your stuff. Well, you know, we do that all for you, Liz.
Thank
We're
you,
here.
I try.
Yes, you do a great job. So, do you have any insight? So, yes, we know Legends a little dinged up, but Legends got there's another apparent issue that he lost his number 2.
Yeah, I heard about
He
that.
went to number 44, and I'm just wondering, is that if he missed meetings or he missed some assignments in practice, or
I don't know really what all that was about. I just know that he was disappointed about it.
Yeah, it seemed like he was genuinely hurt, and that he was going to, at least his discussion was that he was going to get his number back.
Yep. And I mean,
So,
he might. I mean, he's the type of player. I think he's special. So I'd go. I wouldn't be mad if he had a number preference. I'd let him. I mean, might let him sweat it out a little bit if there was some off-field issues. But like, I
yeah,
think he's special enough. I'd be like, here, take whatever number.
get it back the old-fashioned way, earn it.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a few guys that I had that I marked that you didn't have, and so I wanted to get your input on them. The first one is a kid out of, as you call it, Ginville, the Tarblooders of
Yeah,
Glenville,
I love me
and
some tar blooders.
Sincere Johnson.
Yeah, me and Father were very, very high on this guy coming out of high school. He's he reminds me so much of like Arvel Reese. Only I think he's more polished and more ready coming out of high school than Arvel was. It took Arvel a little bit before he was ready. I think Sincere's pretty close to being ready just coming out of high school. Like, he's impressive, and he's big, and he's fast, and he could do just about anything you want at the linebacker spot. I think he could play a little edge if we wanted him to. He's just that sort of versatile, like, game wrecking athlete, defensive guy that, you know, we drool after when they come out of Ohio. We just hope and pray they end up as Buckeyes, and I'm just glad he did because I love me some Ginville Tarblooders, and I always love when we can keep that pipeline going. I'm a huge fan of Ted Ginn Sr. and his son Teddy. Teddy's one of my favorite Buckeyes of all time, and I love seeing kids out of there become Buckeyes. And Sincere definitely deserves all the love he gets because he's a game wrecking type dude. And like I said, I love his versatility. I think he could do everything you want at linebacker, no matter what, middle, outside, doesn't matter. And I think you could line him up and have him be a rush guy if you wanted to. So
All right, so I'm gonna put you on the spot with no linebackers getting injured. Do you think Sincere sees the field this year?
I think he will see some playing time. Yeah, I think he
Okay.
will.
Two other guys that I got. One is from Archbishop Hoban in Akron, Ohio. He's a big dude, 6'8", 315 pounds. He'll probably be 340 by the time Coach Mick gets done with him. But that's Sam Greer, offensive tackle.
I love him so much. He's huge. He's huge. He makes other offensive linemen look tiny. He was standing next to Maxwell Wiley in a picture that I saw on X the other day, and he made him look tiny. I'm like,
yeah,
this kid could give 6'5", 6'6" to it's a complex. Like he's just huge, and he brings.
Yep.
And he brings basketball athleticism to the tackle position too. Like he was a good basketball player coming out of high school as well, and that always translates to the offensive line position because that means they understand spacing and they got quick feet.
Right, footwork. Yep.
And that's always great to see from your offensive lineman. That's very important, and a lot of people don't realize how important that actually is for the offensive line position.
I think the last good guy, now we've had one or two that are similar in size, but the last really good guy at that size would have probably been DeWan, right? DeWan Jones.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and he's given him sense of renewed, or he's got a renewed sense of commitment that he's not going to get hurt again, like he has every single year with the Browns.
And DeWan came from a basketball background as well. He started out as a basketball player coming out of high school.
And I know you're a Bengals fan, but I'm a Browns guy from way well before you were ever born, Mecah.
That's okay. We're both long-suffering fan bases.
I've said, and I think Bugsy and Chris, and we've lamented in our one son-in-law, if we could put the Bengals offense and the Browns defense together last year, we would have definitely been going somewhere in the playoffs.
Yep, if only we could do that.
Yeah. So the last guy that I had checked that I want, it's interesting because of where he comes from and his size, the defensive tackle, Emmanuel Ruffin out of Bessemer, Alabama, 6'4", 295.
I always think it's great when we get recruits right out of high school from big SEC states because I think that just, you never know, that could help pave the way for more guys if they're successful. And he had tremendous film coming out of high school. I loved what he could do. He's big, he's powerful. He moves really well for his size. Normal human beings at that size should not be able to move like that, and he can, and that's impressive. Like I said, his film really jumped out at me, and I was really excited when we got him. We had Cam Brickle committed, and we were recruiting him and Ruffin at the same time, and Brickle decided to go elsewhere and go to Maryland, and we ended up with Ruffin, and I think he's going to be tremendous. I love his upside. It might take him a while to adjust to Ohio State and everything, but I really liked what I saw on his tape, and I think he's a versatile guy too. I think he could play both D-tackle spots if we needed him to.
Yeah, and Bessemer is not far from Tuscaloosa, I don't think. So, all right, we're about out of time. So, but I got enough if we can do it quick. Give me one person returning that you really are interested to see their development this year and how they grow, and somebody that can contribute a lot.
I really want to see how Bo Jackson does once he's healthy.
Okay.
Because I know people talk about, well, he doesn't have that second gear. He gets caught a lot and everything. But what people don't understand is I think a lot of that had to do with the offensive line. We weren't opening and holding holes very long. And he missed a lot of time in high school because he was injured with knee injuries and stuff. So this was his first full season back. So I think with more time to like be healthy and adjust to the college game, you might see that second gear kick in a lot more, and he might have more speed than a lot of people think. And he was tremendous last year with what he did as a freshman. So, I mean, I can't stand hearing people knock him because what he did was tremendous.
Yeah, so I don't know about his top end speed, but I can tell you what, he's quick. And some of the yardage he got was because of his quickness. He blew through a hole before it wasn't much of a hole, and he blew through it before it closed. And some of those yards he made on his own. That's my thought on it.
That's what I'm saying. And if we can hold holes open longer, he might have time to get to a second gear. He just didn't have a lot of time sometimes.
Even against Indiana, Miami, you could see he's like just a half a second or so away from the hole, staying open. But now, go ahead.
Hats off to Miami and Indiana. They had some speedy guys on defense that were a little undersized for their positions, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in speed, and that showed a lot, I think, when we played them.
Well, someday, I lived in Miami for 15 years, and someday we'll talk about the Jimmy Johnson philosophy on defense, and you'll be, if you don't know it, you'll be really surprised when you talk about speed. But so my guy, the one guy I'm interested in seeing his development and how he grows year over year is a transfer from a year ago. And his name is Bo too, but spelled differently, spelled Beau, and that is Atkinson. Bo Atkinson. And he's got the size, he's got the length, and a year in the program. I just want to see how he develops. I think he can. I think he can be a big contributor. On this probably, spelling Kenyatta, or maybe even on the other side with Zion.
He used to be Thor too, but I think Christian stole it from him. We used to refer to Atkinson as Thor, but I'm with you. I think he's got a tremendous upside. I think it took him a while to adjust to the differences in competition level coming from North Carolina to Ohio State. That's a different animal. Not to badmouth the ACC and everything, but it's a different animal.
So before we close, there's two things we're going to do. One, and maybe we should do it now, and we'll give it an OH.
IO.
All right. And then, Mecah, tell everybody again where they can find you in the Illuminutty Podcast.
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Mecah Hannah, Hannah, and you can see how my first name's spelled on the screen there, Mecah. And then under the Illuminutty Podcast on X, I post all my shows and all that on my Facebook pages and on my Twitter page. So if you miss a show and you can't access it on YouTube for some reason, you can always go there and find it. The links are always there. I want to thank you for having me on today. It was really fun. I hope we can do it again sometime. And I want to thank Eric and the Buckeye Boys and everyone I've worked with for giving me the opportunity to start this podcasting thing, and everyone that is listening and has time to, talk Buckeyes with me and share their opinions. I love hearing from everyone and connecting with Buckeye Nation. It's been really fun, and I really enjoy it.
Yep, as you all have watched this, or you're going to watch it moving forward, let us know your thoughts and, whether you agree or disagree with Mecah or myself, and who you want to see, who you're looking for this weekend. I truly appreciate you coming on and all your insight. I definitely learned when I listened to you. And so, folks, check us out, check Mecah out. And if you didn't catch how to spell her first name, Mecah, it's on the thumbnail of my YouTube video of this. It's also in the invite. So there's a number of ways you can find it. But as I close each and every show, America, land of the free, because of the brave. Stay focused, America. Billy Bob, peace out.